In today's video, we are going to be breaking down Joe Harris, who is currently one of the top 3-point shooters in the NBA, and in my opinion, in the world. So let's get down and let's check out Joe Harris. Okay, so in this clip, what we have is Joe Harris coming off of a nice screen, and from here, he is trying to stop his forward momentum. How he does that is by kicking that right leg down, so that now he can transfer all of this momentum coming in this direction up into his shot. From there, what we see is that both of his feet are pointing straight towards the rim. They are shoulder width apart, and his right foot is slightly ahead of his left in most of his shots. Other than this one, it's going to be a little bit more drastic. Usually his toes are in front of his left foot. From there, what we see is when he goes up for his shot, his set point is going to be having that ball over top of his elbow, which is going to allow him to have a consistent shot. We also see that his elbow is in front of his shoulder in line with the basket. I've said this in other videos, but if you've got that triangle, which is the shoulder and elbow in line with the basket plus the ball over top of the elbow, you're going to have a very straight shot, but also a very consistent shot. We can also see that there is a space between his palm and the ball, because that's going to allow him to have a lot of control on the ball. We also see that his hand is quite wide on the ball, his thumb being over here, his pinky finger being over here. Why is this important? Is because, of course, if this defender knocks that elbow, it's going to allow him to have more control of the ball, but also by having the wide hand, and I've mentioned this in a few other videos, if you ever feel like the ball goes off your pinky finger or your thumb or your pointer finger, and you notice that that ball goes off towards the left or right side, then in that case, if you just widen the grip on the ball, you're going to probably have a more consistent shot and not have that issue happening to you. When he goes to release that ball, we can see that he has no, if not very little. We're gonna get a little bit more of a close-up on that, but does not look from this view at least that he has a thumb flick, but we do have a closer view. From there, he does release that ball, and he releases with a curved hand, which is a soft release, which is going to give him more arc on that ball, but less rotation backwards on that ball as well. We also do notice that his right foot does slightly kick out, which allows him to have that straight shot. As we can see from here, when he goes up for his shot, his elbow is slightly out and he's squared up towards the basket. So by kicking that right foot out, he's able to straighten out that shot so that he can have a straight shot for it to go in. Now from this angle, we can actually see that he has a slight thumb flick on that ball, and some great shooters do have a thumb flick, some more than others. Why would you not want to have a thumb flick? Well, if you would not like to have a thumb flick, one of the things that you can do is to practice close to the rim to not have one. But why do coaches and trainers and most players say never to have a thumb flick? Well, it does affect the ball a lot. So for some players with a thumb flick, it will take away the backspin of the ball, which means that you may have a shot that does not have any backspin. And then for some players, it takes away the arc as well. But for here, what I think that thumb flick is for is just to get it back, just basically to have that ball pushed up a little bit higher so that it's over top of the elbow. And a lot of players will do this just automatically, and it's because it's so small of a thumb flick, it's not actually going to affect his shot at all. We also see from this clip that his middle finger is the last finger to touch that ball, and that's good because, of course, if you've got that perfect triangle with that elbow in line with the shoulder and ball, that's going to allow you to have the middle finger release the ball last because it's the longest finger on your hand, and if you were to go off your ring finger or your pointer finger, that would just have that ball miss one side or the other of the rim. Now from this clip, we can actually see that his shot is quite balanced for at least set shots. His shoulders are over his knees, over his toes, and that's what you're generally looking for a balanced shot. From here, when he brings that ball up, his hand is not over top of the ball. A lot of great shooters like Klay Thompson will have their hand over top of the ball, but Joe Harris has his hand slightly on the right side of the ball until he goes up for his shot. He does tend to bring the ball up the middle of his body as well. When he gets up into his set point, his elbow is not at a 90-degree angle, it's at a 45-degree angle, which does slightly slow down his shot, but it's going to give him more power to be able to make that shot. And when he does release that ball, he does have a slight, strong release, but because his ring finger, middle finger, and pinky finger slightly come down and curve down, it's a nice kind of combo between the strong release of a Michael Jordan and a loose release like a Steph Curry. He also finishes with his elbow at eye height. You're generally wanting to have your release just a bit higher, because when that release is a bit higher, you're going to have a little bit more arc on your shot, and that rim does tend to look bigger when you've got more arc on your shot. When he does take a set shot, however, he does jump forward quite far. As we can see here, he jumps forward and he does land roughly around where that three-point line is. Now, what this means for his shot is that he is using a lot of his legs for power, and by jumping forward, he is really trying to transfer a lot of his leg power into that ball, and that will give him a stronger shot. Now, will it be a more inconsistent shot? For some players, it could be. If you jump forward that far, it could be a more inconsistent shot. However, again, for players like Joe Harris, who are just absolutely amazing shooters, he's really consistent at jumping at that distance. Why this would be a challenge for some players is not because of their strength. It would be because they haven't practiced enough from this distance. And if they're about to jump at that distance, and they may land here or here, and then maybe here again, and then maybe here, and they haven't practiced the actual distance that they need to jump forward to make that shot, you're gonna find that, oh, well, sometimes I'm short on my shot, and other times I'm long on my shot. Why is that? And they'll start changing things up here. In reality, all it is just the distance forward that they are jumping. So by not jumping so far forward, for some players, they can become more consistent. But for players like Joe Harris, it doesn't matter. Joe Harris is, again, one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. So by analyzing players like Joe Harris, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, we can all become better shooters ourselves. I hope that this video has helped you become a better shooter. If it has, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.